The chilling shadows of fear descended upon the state of Mexico between 2006 and 2012, cast by a predator who would soon be infamously known as La Bestia, or the Beast. César Armando Librado Legorreta, a name now synonymous with terror, orchestrated a horrific campaign of violence, leaving a trail of death, rape and kidnappings that scarred multiple communities. His hunting grounds were the very arteries of daily life, the public transportation routes in the municipalities of Tlalnepantla, Cuautitlán Izcalli, and Atizapan de Zaragoza. These were not random acts of brutality. They were calculated, systematic assaults on young women, often abducted from buses, plunging their families and the wider public into an abyss of dread. The initial discovery of these heinous crimes began with a disturbing pattern. Police investigations were triggered by multiple reports of missing women, followed by the grim discovery of bodies bearing similar, horrifying characteristics. Each new victim escalated the urgency, painting a grim picture of a serial offender operating with impunity. The victim profile was tragically consistent. Young women, vulnerable targets in the bustling, often chaotic environment of Mexican public transport. Legorreta's motives, though still subject to ongoing psychological analysis, appeared rooted in profound psychopathy, driven by a perverse desire for control and the infliction of violence. His actions spoke of an individual utterly devoid of empathy, capable of blending seamlessly into society before unleashing unspeakable cruelty. The hunt for La Bestia intensified, culminating in his initial apprehension in March 2012. However, this moment of relief was tragically short-lived. In a shocking turn of events that exposed critical security lapses, Legorreta managed a daring escape from custody. This audacious act ignited a firestorm of public outrage and fear. The idea that a confessed serial killer, a man responsible for such widespread devastation, could simply walk free from detention was inconceivable and unacceptable to the terrified populace. The escape placed immense pressure on law enforcement agencies, whose credibility was severely compromised. An intensive manhunt ensued, a desperate race against time to recapture a monster who had already proven his capacity for extreme violence. Finally, in April 2012, just weeks after his escape, César Armando Librado Legorreta was reapprehended. While his recapture brought a collective sigh of relief, it also ushered in a period of intense scrutiny for law enforcement, highlighting systemic deficiencies that allowed such a dangerous individual to evade justice, even temporarily. Legorreta's methods were insidious. He exploited the daily routines of his victims, often posing as an ordinary passenger on public buses. Once aboard, he would overpower and abduct his chosen targets, spiriting them away to secluded locations where his horrific crimes were committed. The evidence meticulously gathered against him was overwhelming. Forensic data linked him directly to multiple crime scenes. Witness testimonies painted a consistent picture of his modus operandi, and eventually his own confessions solidified the case. He was formally charged with multiple counts of aggravated rape, kidnapping, and murder. While officially confirmed to have raped at least 8 women and murdered 7, a dark cloud of speculation persists that the true number of his victims could be even higher. The brutality of the case, compounded by the killer's audacious escape, garnered significant national and international media attention. La Bestia became a chilling headline, a symbol of the pervasive violence gripping parts of Mexico. The formal legal proceedings commenced swiftly after his final recapture, initiating a complex and highly publicized trial that would seek to bring justice to his victims. The crimes left an indelible scar on the affected communities, fostering deep-seated fear and a profound distrust in public safety mechanisms. This case starkly exposed deficiencies within police procedures and highlighted the urgent need for enhanced interagency cooperation. Families of the victims, galvanized by their unimaginable losses, emerged as vocal advocates for justice and for improved safety measures, ensuring their loved ones would not be forgotten. Before we continue, subscribe to the channel and tell us in the comments where you are watching from. Despite the widespread terror he inflicted, information regarding César Armando Librado Legorreta's early life remained remarkably scarce to the public. Reports painted a picture of a man who maintained a seemingly ordinary facade, a deceptive normalcy that allowed him to blend seamlessly into the fabric of daily life, making his eventual unmasking even more horrifying. This apparent ordinariness was a crucial element in his ability to operate undetected for so long, a testament to the insidious nature of his psychopathy. Experts who later analyzed his behavior consistently described him as highly manipulative, utterly devoid of empathy, and possessing the classic traits associated with psychopathic tendencies. These psychological characteristics provided a chilling framework for understanding the cold, calculating nature of his crimes. Further analysis of Legorreta's criminal trajectory revealed a disturbing evolution in his modus operandi. Initially, his attacks might have been less refined, but over time, his methods appeared to escalate in both violence and sophistication. This progression suggested a predator who was learning, adapting, and growing bolder with each successive act, a terrifying prospect for the communities he targeted. His crimes did not occur in a vacuum. They were set against the grim backdrop of widespread violence against women in Mexico, a pervasive social issue often referred to as femicide. This broader context provided a chilling resonance, making the Bestia case a stark symbol of the dangers faced by women across the nation. The case unequivocally highlighted severe vulnerabilities within the public transportation security systems operating in the state of Mexico. The very buses meant to facilitate daily commutes became hunting grounds, exposing a systemic failure to protect passengers, particularly women. Compounding this, the initial escape of Legorreta and the perceived slow response by authorities raised troubling questions about institutional failures within law enforcement. Allegations of police corruption or incompetence, whether real or perceived, significantly eroded public trust, already fragile in many areas. The Bestia case thus became more than just a serial killer's story. It transformed into a potent symbol of the broader struggle against gender-based violence and the pervasive issue of impunity in Mexico. Critics frequently pointed to the lack of adequate resources allocated for victim support and forensic investigations as contributing factors to the challenges faced in combating such crimes. This deficiency meant that crucial elements of the justice system were under-equipped to handle the scale and brutality of Legorreta's actions. In response to the terror, communities adopted increased vigilance, and demands for a greater police presence became louder and more insistent. The media's portrayal of Bestia predominantly focused on his monstrous nature, often sensationalizing the brutality and, at times, overshadowing a deeper societal analysis of the underlying causes and systemic failures that allowed such a predator to thrive. Intriguingly, investigations revealed no significant prior criminal record for Legorreta that would have flagged him as a dangerous individual. This absence of a conventional criminal history made his emergence as a serial killer even more perplexing and terrifying, underscoring the challenge of identifying such individuals before they inflict widespread harm. The case, however, served as a powerful catalyst for women's rights organizations. They seized upon the tragedy to demand systemic changes, using the public outcry to push for greater protections and accountability. This activism, in turn, spurred renewed, albeit often criticized, government initiatives aimed at combating femicide, acknowledging the undeniable pressure from civil society. Forensic science played an absolutely crucial role in the investigation. It was the meticulous collection and analysis of forensic evidence that ultimately linked the disparate crimes and provided undeniable proof of Legorreta's involvement, leading directly to his identification and conviction. However, high-profile cases like this also brought to the forefront the immense challenges associated with ensuring witness protection, especially when facing a dangerous individual and a potentially compromised system. Debates also emerged concerning the adequacy of existing legal frameworks to effectively prosecute and prevent such complex serial crimes, questioning whether current laws were robust enough. The international community also took notice. The case attracted significant attention from international human rights organizations, which expressed profound concern about the escalating violence against women in Mexico. Domestically, the pervasive public fear and mistrust in safety institutions and public spaces became palpable, fundamentally altering how citizens, particularly women, navigated their daily lives. The long-term psychological trauma inflicted upon the survivors of his brutal attacks represented an enduring scar, a testament to the profound damage wrought by Legorreta. His ability to operate undetected for years also brought into sharp focus a disturbing social disconnect, suggesting a societal environment where such horrific crimes could occur without immediate and effective intervention. The subsequent trial proceedings for César Armando Librado Legorreta were characterized by their extreme sensitivity and inherent complexity. Prosecutors meticulously presented extensive forensic evidence and compelling testimonies from multiple victims, their voices echoing the horror of their experiences. Ultimately, Legorreta was convicted on numerous counts, including aggravated rape, kidnapping, and murder. The culmination of these convictions resulted in the imposition of multiple life sentences, a legal outcome designed to ensure that he would spend the remainder of his natural life incarcerated, effectively removing him from society. Predictably, the defense pursued an appeals process, challenging the verdicts on various legal grounds. However, after rigorous review by higher courts, these appeals were definitively rejected, firmly upholding the initial convictions. This finality brought a measure of closure to the legal chapter of the case, though the emotional wounds remained. Following the legal proceedings, discussions and often protracted legal battles ensued regarding appropriate compensation for the victims and their families. These were crucial steps in acknowledging the profound suffering inflicted and providing some material support for the immense losses endured. The brazen escape of Legorreta from custody earlier in the timeline had profound repercussions, prompting immediate and thorough internal reviews within the state of Mexico's prison and police systems. These investigations led directly to the implementation of significant security reforms aimed at preventing any recurrence of such a catastrophic failure. Concurrently, new public safety initiatives were proposed and in some cases enacted, specifically targeting improvements in public transportation security and enhancing police responsiveness to similar threats. These measures represented a tangible, if belated, governmental response to the systemic vulnerabilities exposed by La Bestia. Despite the legal resolutions and institutional reforms, the ongoing trauma for the victims' families and the broader community remained a pervasive and enduring reality. The psychological and emotional scars inflicted by Legorreta's reign of terror continued to manifest, a testament to the profound and lasting impact of such brutal crimes. The legacy of La Bestia therefore persists as a stark and chilling reminder of the inherent brutality of serial crime and the persistent, multifaceted challenges faced by societies in their pursuit of justice. Even with Legorreta's convictions, certain unanswered questions continued to linger. Speculation persisted regarding whether his full victim count might be higher than officially confirmed, and the possibility of potential accomplices, though none were ever formally charged, remained a whispered concern. These unresolved elements underscored the inherent limitations of even the most exhaustive investigations. The case also fueled continued debate on the most effective preventative measures against sexual violence and serial crime, pushing for a re-evaluation of societal approaches to these pervasive issues. The media played a dual role throughout this saga. While it was instrumental in informing the public and maintaining pressure on authorities, its sensationalist portrayal of La Bestia sometimes risked influencing legal proceedings or overshadowing the deeper societal analysis required. Nevertheless, the intense media coverage ensured that the case remained in the public consciousness. Crucially, the La Bestia case significantly galvanized activism and advocacy. Victim advocacy groups, empowered by the collective trauma and public outcry, continued their tireless efforts, demanding better protection and more robust justice systems for women across Mexico. Their unwavering commitment ensured that the momentum for change did not dissipate once the headlines faded. The long-term societal impact of Legorreta's crimes has been profound, fundamentally shaping public perception of safety, particularly for women, in Mexico. The case became a benchmark against which future incidents of violence against women would be measured, a constant reminder of the vigilance required. In an international context, Mexico's response to the La Bestia case offered points of comparison with how other countries grapple with similar serial killer cases, highlighting both universal challenges and unique regional contexts. For criminologists and psychologists, the case of César Armando Librado Legorreta continues to be a compelling subject of study. His psychological profile, modus operandi, and the societal factors that allowed him to operate for so long offer invaluable insights into the dark recesses of human behavior and systemic vulnerabilities. Efforts were also made to create memorials and host remembrances, ensuring that the victims were honored and their stories were never forgotten, transforming tragedy into a catalyst for remembrance and change. The enduring impact of the case also sparked discussions about future legislation. There remains a potential for new laws aimed at preventing similar crimes and improving judicial processes, thereby strengthening the legal framework against gender-based violence. However, the process of rebuilding public trust in law enforcement and the justice system, severely eroded by Legorreta's actions and the initial institutional failures, remains slow and arduous. The La Bestia case, therefore, serves as a poignant and perpetual reminder of the ongoing fight against violence and the relentless pursuit of justice for all in Mexico.